You see, God initiated this entire experience, but I had to allow myself to be open. Many of us come from different parts of life, but God knows how to reach us when He needs to. While we were yet sinners, Christ died, and we love because He first loved us, according to 1 John 4:19. Now let's get back to the story. You remember that friend in part 1 that I mentioned that invited me to church? Well, I didn't tell you that it was a Pentecostal church. But I also wanted to tell you that he invited me to another church, and it was a Word of Faith church. What's interesting about this is I received something uniquely different from both ministries. Later down my journey, the Holy Spirit will remind me and make me aware that I received the baptism of the Holy Spirit at the Pentecostal church, and I received a very strong biblical foundation at the Word of Faith church. Back to the story. Okay, I got you. And wanting to do my own thing and not giving God a complete yes, it would cause me to have a couple bumps in the road. You see, things were different when I just didn't know no better. But when I started going to church and hearing the word and still trying to do what I wanted to do, then I found myself not only experiencing conviction, but when I wasn't listening to those convictions, then I would have to deal with the consequences. And it happened several times. So this one initial time, I went out after work, after working 2 jobs. I went to the club, and after that, I left from a female's house, and I fell asleep and went in the ditch, and I got a DWI. This was my first initial DWI. Yet God was still gracious. I was placed on 6 months probation, and once I finished that program, then it would have been like I went to court and won, so that DWI would have came off. But what happened was I was getting ready to move to California, and my probation officer was going to let me, but me being hard-headed, still wanting to do my own thing, went out again to celebrate. And mind you, I quit both my jobs at this time. So I'm going out to celebrate me moving to California to do what? Be a porn star. But how did this porn star thing come into play? I'm glad you asked. Growing up, I watched a lot of television. So I began to admire a lot of those actors and actresses that I saw on TV. And I began to desire to be on TV as well. But the only problem was I wasn't confident. I lacked the ability to articulate and communicate effectively, and I didn't have any training. So the enemy, of course, easily perverted my dream, and he began to whisper in my ear, you can't do that. You can't do that. You don't have the skill set to be an actor, but you know what you can do? You can get paid doing something that you enjoy doing, which was having sex. So that was my plan. I quit both my jobs, went out, started celebrating, and the night that I went out to celebrate, guess what happened? Boom, DWI number 2.